It's my duty to please the booty.
And Muzz got mad at me. The coach said, he goes, Jesus Christ, why don't you just work 2 nines? And I went, okay.
Please never do that.
Yep. So.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 500.
This guy sounds like shit.
Presented by Pink Whitney.
Sleep at night,
From our
buddy.
friends at New Amsterdam.
Mix in a
Vodka.
water.
Here on the Barstool Sports Podcast family. The boys are here in Edmonton finally. Not a great game, but a great night for the crew. What a tough one for Edmonton.
Tough one for you, but I tell you, what a way to start the pod,
Yeah.
man. Way to break the ice, all right?
Yeah, I know. We had to start off one
Hey,
way. or the
we were
boys.
talking on the way over. You got to have a guy like RA around. Like, I can get as smothered as possible, but I still fly under the radar because I wasn't as bad as RA.
I said it's like the crazy cousin at Thanksgiving. Like, look at him again over there. And you just get to just walk and wheeze by with no problems. But, RA, you mentioned first off, I just got to talk about Pink Whitney. I know it was a tough night for the Oilers. We'll get into the Panthers. Their fans have every reason to be excited. But it was a great night for Pink Whitney. We had our amazing party at the Ice House. Pink Whitney shots flying around, people crushing drinks. So head on over to your local bar. Make sure to order some Pink Whitney. And my favorite thing is the 1.75-liter bottle. That's the big daddy, the big dog to last you longer. The Panthers and their fans, they might not need it much longer, right? They got their Pink Whitney stocked up for a 7-game final series, and it looks like it's going to be over in 4. So shout out Pink Whitney. Take your shot with Pink Whitney.
What an
All
ad
right.
read by Whit, boys, off the top here.
Merles, what radar do you think you're flying under, by the way?
Yours.
All right, radar.
Oh, shit. Yeah,
Boys, I don't, before we really dive into that game, I don't like to point fingers and single guys out, but I think that this one might be on RA. The fact that he was talking to his girl from Edmonton, right? The girl who whipped her tits out.
Mm-hmm.
And my understanding was she was coming to the game. Tits McGee was going to be representing Chiclets, not only at the Ice House for a Pink Whitney event, whipping out the bolt-ons, but also coming to the game and giving the Oilers that spark that they needed. And that was everything but what the fuck has happened.
Daniel Plainville came a calling for this week. You know, there will be blood. She had to get to the oil fields. I guess had to do
Well,
some work.
apparently we're being told by other sources that you're ghosting her and that she originally ghosted you and now you're mad. She's texting you. You're not responding. So I don't know what's going on in the world of RA.
The Stanley Cup Finals has been taken over by RA's love affair with Tits McGee.
Yeah. They asked Paul Maurice about it last night.
And RA was like kind of moping around the barn last night a little bit, hey?
Well, actually, this is my favorite part of last night.
Oh, okay,
The first period, we were actually.
Well, you kind of were like, you were kind of
looking
like.
at the paintings. Yeah. We'll get into the game. Don't worry.
Yeah.
But so we had I think Harrison Katz gave it to us, right? It was this incredible suite above his dad, the owner's
It was
suite.
called the Summit Club.
The Summit Club.
It was
we go
amazing.
up there, sushi, food, open bar, incredible. Way up top, good view of the game. And then we had 4 tabletop seats down in the loge. So myself, Biz, Merles, and Pasha were down there filming and trying to get content in the first period. And we wanted to go back up at the intermission, and they were down 1-0, the Oilers were. So we get back up, and the elevator door opens, and RA's like, "What's up, boys? This seat's unbelievable. You get perfect for the X's and O's and breaking down the game." I said, RA, why don't you give me some X's and O's from that period? He couldn't even tell you who scored. And then you were eating your sushi during the game and looking at the paintings. I'm like, all right, let's go. But you know what? It didn't matter because the Panthers just owned them, and I guess you knew that the entire time.
I wish I knew that. I would have bet fucking Florida.
I bet Oilers, but it was with my heart. Like, it was a heart bet. Like, we all knew Florida was winning this series.
I knew that Florida was winning that game when they came out. The Edmonton Oilers, they came out warm-up, 16-minute warm-up now.
That's what you were going nuts
The first
about.
fucking song they got on is like some Drake remix bullshit. Are you kidding me? How are you going to get fired up for a must-win game? You got fucking, and I'm not even like the biggest Drake hater, but the tune they had on, I don't know how many of you fans show up early for warm-up. Send me the name of this track, but this was just like that's fucking with the hockey gods right there, blaring that bullshit. Come out with a classic or something.
There was
Oh, you know, they
fans
need-
even there. Their fans weren't even there for warm-up. Remember how empty it was during warm-ups? Like, what was everybody doing? Get in there, stand on
Drinking.
your feet. Yeah,
I think that we could probably be open and honest, though. Is Florida one of the best teams we've seen in 10 years? I mean,
Unbelievable.
Are they better than Vegas last year?
so
They're kind of the same pattern as Vegas a bit.
like
Like
better goalie.
With a,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
with a
yeah.
better goalie. This team, and I know I talk about the Oilers. People bitch and whine about this show, the Oilers. Yeah, they're my team. I'm one of the hosts of the show. Shut up. But I can give credit where credit's due.
Yeah.
This is a different ball game. This is a different league. This is like, you're just watching domination. You're watching, by the way, not even the best effort from some of Florida's stars. Kachuk's been very quiet. I know he had an apple over to Bennett last night. But, I mean, Verhaeghe's been kind of quiet.
Yeah.
It's just a team effort with this goalie. This friggin' goalie, Bob, who what's going to happen is he's got 2 Vezinas. I believe he's up for it this year, but Hellebuck's going to win it. But he is up for it, correct?
I think he's top 3.
So he's up for it. He's got 2. He's up for another one. He's going to get a Conn Smythe when they finish this series out, and then he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. So like, look at what we're dealing with here. Bill Zito, got to give him props.
Yeah,
Oh,
huge props.
God.
The thing is, though, this is the secret. I thought that the crowd, to your point, would be like the secret weapon. They need this. They need to get back in the series. And to your point, I sensed like massive nervous energy.
Same here.
Like I sensed like they were waiting for something to happen instead of like pushing the boys to like make something happen in the barn. And like, what a beautiful rink. What a
Oh,
beautiful
it's the
setup.
mega
It is
strip.
a mega church. It's unbelievable. This is what I think, boys. I went to the final in, what year was that when they lost to Carolina? 06. I went to a final game at the Old Barn, and they played this Black Eyed Peas song, Pump It.
Let's get it started.
No, Pump It.
Oh.
It's unbelievable.
like
And
that
it
one,
would
too.
rock. They would blare it. It was so loud. It was their song. It would like, they played it all the time. They've got to go back to this like crazy, like blue collar, Black Eyed Peas.
I mean, I don't
get
think
everyone in the
Black
bar.
Eyed-
Blue collar, Black Eyed Peas, like they're ringing
No,
that
but
out
like-
on the oil rigs.
No, but that song at the time of that day was
very blue collar.
no, it was very like go to
They
like
used to
your.
play it at the steel mills
it's
to really get them
Metallica.
going.
No, it was in Saskatoon on the dance floor. Like Fergie was hot back then. I'm
was
just
so
saying,
hot.
When she was a
bring
pisser
back
herself.
the old rink vibe with that energy and that song and that tradition and that feeling and that not nervous energy, that excited, crazy, pump it energy. I think they start the game with that on game 4. They
Well,
gotta.
I
do
don't
it.
think they started terribly. It goes down to the chances that they had, and it goes back to Bob. I mean, Connor Brown was the first significant one that I could think of that was shorthanded. It was the breakaway.
And he had 2.
And he had 2 cracks at it, right? Who were the other ones in the first period? I want to say
Well, it was that pass.
the power
from-
play.
Yeah, Leon made that dish through to Connor. He robbed him on that one. I think another time
Leon
Connor
got
went
a
to
one.
Leon.
Leon
Yeah.
put it here on Bob.
Yes, on the one-timer. And it was just about like, because the Panthers got the first power play, and the Oilers were able to get the kill. Yeah, their streak ended in game 2, but all right, let's get the crowd into it. And I agree, like the anthem's incredible, but it was nervous. If that series is 1-1 or somehow Edmonton's up 2-0, we're seeing a different crowd, in my opinion. And then they get the power play. All right, let's get a lead. Let's get this thing going. And Bob was perfect. We watched actually, Biz, during that power play of the pressure and the sticks.
So
and
good.
I think it was me, if not both of us, who chirped Ekblad at the beginning of the Bruins series.
Yeah, he had a couple tough
Bad games
Yeah.
and like what, but I think he's been one of the best players in the Panthers in this final
the
round.
way he helped close out that game.
He buried Fogle into the bench last night.
Oh, yeah.
At the end of the game, he had the puck on the boards for 20 seconds, I think. They couldn't get it from him. So he, on that PK, was all over the place. Same with the forwards up top. And then finally, after a couple of tornadoes by McDavid, they got chances. And Bob, there's not even a rebound. He's sliding over. We were actually looking at him in warm-up, doing the splits and it's
His
he's-
pre-game warm-up routine.
it's
So we actually had our
electric.
X's and O's vision from the Summit
X's
Club.
and O's.
And then you could just see him when he's opening up that groin, how he's able to like get his toes out and he points them out, then he points them in, and then how he's able to now come up with the strength of his groin where he doesn't have to really like bend his knees. Like if his legs are straight, he can use his groin muscles to get himself back
That's what he
up.
did. He's
he
like
is
this.
a fucking alien.
And he jumped, so completely lined, balls on the ice, legs dead out right, left, and he just did a little hop, got to here, little hop, got to here. I
Yeah.
was like, what the hell?
Girls,
Yeah.
remember that in the final though
thrust
when we were
action.
down there? You and
Last
I were
year,
like,
yeah.
"Oh my God, look at this!" His routine that he does, even in between whistles, TV timeouts, whatever during the game. Never mind before. It's a ballet act.
It is.
It is a beautiful performance.
That's a reason to show up for warm-up is to watch that.
He's just amazing. All the little arm things he does and the way he dances on his edges.
Oh, yeah, Army's feeling it.
I love this guy. I love the way he looks. I love the way he does it. It's part preparation, part performance. if you're there in warm-ups and you got to watch it, he's that cool to watch. So
I think we've said it through every pod, like how good Florida is at closing and structurally, defensively, how they suffocate you. We resort back to the anaconda standing. They put the chokehold on you. Seeing it live, man, I know they have some skilled forwards for the Edmonton Oilers, but the time and space that team takes away, that to me is what the most impressive part about them is. You guys said, are they better than Vegas? I thought Vegas was better at actually controlling the game and coming at you with wave and wave and wave. I feel like when Florida, sometimes when they're not the aggressor, but they are maybe stuck in their own end, they're really just not giving up much. They might get hemmed in a little bit, but as you saw yesterday, the Oilers, everything was perimeter. And you could tell it's frustrating them, but anytime it gets to the inside, guys, they are locking guys up.
Under control.
They are just
They're heavy,
strong.
they're long. Like every guy has got a long reach, a long stick. Like you talk about Ekblad, that Mikla, even though he's not the greatest player, he's long, and we're playing him over and over. It gets annoying.
Could you ever imagine Oliver Ekman-Larsson playing with the meanness and
that's an amazing thing. The mentality that their team has possessed for the last few years, but in this playoffs is a total, like, Paul Maurice says it's a buy-in. It's a buy-in from everybody. Like I'm seeing guys, everyone's Matthew Tkachuk. Everyone is. And Oliver Ekman-Larsson is a guy that stands out because
Kulikov.
he's a player.
Guy
he's done.
He was done. Where was he? He was in
Pittsburgh,
Buffalo. He was in Pittsburgh.
He was nothing.
This guy's
He
probably
was
out of the league, back to the KHL, and now he's running around dominating the Cup
He's a
final.
force.
And then we talked about Stenlund, who their fourth line, they've kind of mixed and matched. I saw he played 81 games this year, so I think he's been a real consistent. But Oposo's playing right now, and then they got Lorentz playing. But they had the Lamborghini, they had Cousins. They have 5 or 6 guys that can play on their fourth line, which is so nice to have. But Stenlund, he was in Winnipeg a little bit. I didn't know anything about him, and now every PK he's out there, he's killing penalties, he's on the fourth line. It's very similar to Vegas. It's been incredible. Now, if we want to at least go through the goals a little bit, the first period, once again, the whole game, I don't think it's as similar to game one where you're like, Edmonton dominated. Edmonton deserved to win that game. Remember, I was going on the Deservo.
the Win-A-Meters.
The Deservo Win-A-Meter.
Nuts with the Win-A-Meters.
I'm not talking about a game 3. Edmonton played good, but they were on the outside. The out shooting them and the chances. Yeah, there were some great A's, but I just couldn't believe that the first period, the way it went, the no penalty power play goal for either team. All right, then it goes 4-on-4. Who was it? Was it Tkachuk, that penalty at the end of the first period? Who got that penalty?
Oh, God. I felt Edmonton had full control.
Kulak and Tkachuk. They both got a roughing. Yeah. And remember we said we were hosing. We go, that's a great trade-off. We'll take that.
all day.
Take that trade-off, no doubt. And what happens?
The other way.
Alexander fucking Barkov.
Oh, my God, this guy.
Another strip at his...
Poked it on Bush.
He just pokes Bouchard, then races down the wall. Bouchard's trying to, kind of cut him off. Tight turn, hits Forsling. We haven't even brought up Forsling yet. And then Forsling with a fake shot pass right to Reinhart. Beautiful tip-in goal. And you got a minute left, and it's 1-0 Florida. What just happened?
Well, that 1 minute left when that happened. End of the period, back to the energy in the arena.
Silence.
Oh.
You couldn't hear. No one was talking. Everyone just sitting there.
You could hear RA playing with his butthole in the box. You could literally hear him picking up.
I heard him reading the artwork.
No, I heard him dipping his sushi in the sauce, and he's just like, it's like Barney Rubble. But from then on, okay, what's going to happen at the intermission? And Fogle got a big one. He tied it up. They were back in the game. Awesome shot on the breakaway. Places going bonkers. And then it was just more can they build on this? It's 1-1, second period. We now went to sit up top to change the vibes. No, next day it's 4-1. What the hell just happened? It was so quick, and it was just off of mistake after mistake after mistake. And in fairness to the Oilers, they didn't make a ton of mistakes. Every one they did went in the net. Yeah. So at some point, you got to blame the guys making mistakes, and you got to say Skinner was not great.
I might have got the stat wrong. I heard it this morning on Sportsnet. Tim McAuliffe was doing the game breakdown. The Panthers had, to the analytics, 58 seconds of possession in the offensive zone in the second period. and scored 3 goals.
Oh,
What?
that's ouchy.
That's the stat. I swear he
So
said.
you
You're the
think-
analytics
Well, you
guy
know
now.
Oh
huh?
yeah. Oh, you
Harvey.
fucking Pasha's getting in your kitchen
I
too
look
much.
under the hood. I look under the hood.
You know
Yo,
what?
but you're the new data cast
guy.
guy. You're the new, you
data-
gotta get a pair of writer's glasses.
Yeah, I know. I got to get something going.
Hey, so Tarasenko, he gets the one. Lundell rips it around. Skinner, I don't know what you're
Turnover,
doing.
bing,
It's
bing,
just
in.
stay in the
Terrible.
net. I understand you're trying to stop it. Boom, goes to Listerine and gives Tarasenko. So they had probably held it for 1 second.
2
there.
seconds, tops.
The next one, Bennett, Nurse,
Boys,
just gets on his backhand and just chucks it to nobody, nowhere. Boom, all of a sudden, Kachuk Bennett, they had the puck for 1 second there. And then Rodriguez flips a little dish to Barkov and goes on a
Entering the
breakaway.
zone, boom,
So
done.
yeah, 4 seconds total on that.
On those goals.
not to kick a guy when he's down, but a little nugget here. I think it was Reinhardt who assisted on that Barkov goal, so that was his second point of the game. That made Darnell Nurse go to -16 in this playoff run, and that ties Sam Reinhardt's father, Paul Reinhardt, for the record of worst plus-minus in a playoff run
In the history of a
in the
playoff.
history of the NHL. So they're both at -16 right now. So
Shout out.
plus-
I saw Griffin
What it-
Reinhardt last night.
Hey,
Shout out
both
to
of
him.
them.
Yeah.
What's,
shout
the,
out to
what's
Griffin.
the line? If you keep doing something, it's insanity or something.
Keep
The
doing
definition of insanity is do the same thing over and over, accepting a different
Stop
result.
playing that guy on defense. He's
Merle
a
says he
forward.
needs to play
He
forward.
can't play defense. You see him in the start of the game when he got up in that rush for no reason. I'm like, what is he doing? Stay back. Stay between the dots. Like, it's not hard to play defense.
You think you would have the balls to switch Darnell Nurse to forward?
We would 100.
Okay.
I tried to do it 3 years ago.
Okay. What's a bigger balls? Putting him on forward or taking him out of the lineup?
Putting one forward would have
I
like
think
people in
that's
the
huge.
arena would
Yeah.
be
Spec would be fucking
drinking
going
oil,
nuts.
trying to drink it.
We could just run around. He'd go and muck it up in front of the blue paint. He's got the size to go in there, and he is mean. He's like, they're just not using him correctly at all.
All right, what did you notice from like the up above with the X and O's when you weren't mucking
I've
popcorn
always
on the
said I'm not an
couch?
X's and O's guy.
Well, you said this.
You said
We're in the perfect spot.
No, honestly, like Edmonton needed their best game of the season last night, and it was far from it. I mean, they made the 3 mistakes. Bouchard on the first one too, just a bad giveaway. You just mentioned
See,
Skinner's
I call
misplay.
that a takeaway more than a giveaway.
Okay,
I think
well,
Nurses is a giveaway. I feel like
was a miss-
Barkov just I'm a mishap. I'm not
well,
chirping
yeah.
you. I'm just saying
Yeah.
like Bouchard, you don't know when the anaconda strikes. Or is that a different? Is that a python?
No, that's
It's a
a
cobra.
That's a cobra.
No,
Cobra.
Cobra strikes, yeah. Well, Anaconda's python forwards.
Boys.
They're all constrictors.
I got ruined online for saying that Barkov is the best
Oh.
overall forward on the planet right now. He's the best overall on the planet.
You remember Keith Yandel 4 or 5 years ago?
Yeah, he said that.
Yep.
He goes, he's the best player in the world. I'm like, McDavid, Matthews. Like, no. I'm talking everything. I said every part of the game, nobody's better than him. And I was like, I don't know. And sure as shit now, it's hard to argue it. It's hard to argue. Now, McDavid and Leon, they don't have the cast that he has, but it doesn't look like he needs that much. He's so good defensively that even if he wasn't scoring, and there was a quote by Paul Maurice after the game where he said, like, there have been numerous nights this year where he had no points and he was easily the best player on the
Yeah,
ice.
there you go.
So it's like,
There you
if
go.
your head coach is saying basically when you produce, it's lights out better than everyone else, and even when you don't produce, you're that much better than people, you got to give them
Hey,
credit.
and let's not forget, and we don't want to be a biased podcast. I didn't think it was suspension worthy. Draisaitl got him with an elbow right to the chops. And that was something that Marchand got, and he was out for a few games.
Yep.
So not only does he not sit out and take a day off, he fucking gets in the lineup, and once again, other than Bob, probably the best player on the ice. And I don't know, I guess the debate now, considering this one's over. I knew it was over. I felt that way before the series, and then talking to so many people, I kind of gained more and more and more confidence in Edmonton. But this one's over. Who's getting the Conn Smythe? Witz thinks
Bob.
it's Bob.
Yeah,
hands
I think
down.
it's Bob by no matter what.
We had Miggs on game notes before the series, and he called Bob. He's like, put everything you have on me. It was 5-1 plus 500 odds on DraftKings Sportsbook, and it's his because he probably would have won it last year if they won the cup.
So I think if you gave it to Barkov, nobody's complaining. It's just been some of the games Bob's had, especially with games 1 and 3 in the finals. It makes total sense. So how about this? Is big head hockey. Barkov this postseason. 21 points in 20 games. Is 4th in the NHL in points. He's leading the NHL in game-winning goals. Another one in Game 3 once the little comeback happened. Plus 12 takeaway differential. In 44 minutes of penalty kill time, the Panthers have scored 2 goals and allowed 2 goals with Barkov on the ice. That also doesn't even include that 5-on-5 with him on the ice. Kucherov didn't score.
Pasta
had
got
one. Panarin didn't score, and Draisaitl and Connor haven't scored. So you're getting chirped for that.
He
It's
is
kind
Was
of
it,
the
wasn't
Anaconda.
Panarin in the mix there, or a bunch of those guys as well?
Panarin got nothing.
That's what I'm saying. Or did you say Panarin?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
He
Yeah,
is
right.
the
Oh, sorry.
Anaconda chokehold.
Did I
how
just,
do you- I
did
don't
I
know
just
how you get lit
completely
up
miss you
online
saying
for that.
Panarin?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I got
There's nobody
RA
even
brain.
X's
close
and
that
O's.
plays the two-way game as Barkov. How? Like, I don't understand these people blowing you up online. Like,
Yeah.
I can't think of anybody. Like, yeah, Sid, of course, but Sid is getting down and like he's getting older.
He just
like,
looks so
Barkov
fast.
He's
He looks
big. He's got
fast,
the reach.
like-
He's strong. He's the
What's
best
impressive too is like he's been out there for 45 and he kind of keeps the same cadence. And if there's a time he needs a burst late in the shift, when he kind of turns it on,
he goes.
he has that pop. You're like,
Has he
Jesus.
had that before? He looks like different with that pop.
Like,
I don't
his
know.
pop when he got the dish from Rodriguez
Yes.
for the breakaway. He didn't
Gone.
even really need to. but
Two
he was
quick
just
ones,
going.
and you're like, whoa.
like
yeah.
he looks
what the hell?
different. He
Yeah, we
looks,
talked about that. Like, he's got like a jump in his step this year. I don't know if because he was hurt last year.
You know what he
we're really
looks like?
focused on
He
him
was hurt last year,
in the
right?
final,
He looks like he's a champion.
Yeah, he does.
He looks like he's a champion. He's ready to be a champion. He's playing like a champion.
Another
He's got that
amazing
pop.
stat from last night, RA. You'll appreciate this in terms of like a team that's just controlling the pace of play and knows exactly what they want to do. The Florida Panthers forwards last night averaged 45-second shifts. The Oilers were right around a minute. So that's when you know that it's quick changes, it's keeping momentum, it's not getting tied down in your own zone. And on the other side, it's Edmonton's those are long shifts. That's because you're stuck in your defensive zone. You can't get out. And Florida's able to change lines while they have possession. And then, yeah, as much as I wanted to believe the Oilers had a chance in this series, it kind of seems like game one was their game to make it interesting. And if they get that, no matter what, it's 1-1 last night, right? And then it's 2-1 even if they lose last night. So that game one loss will probably turn out to be the most crushing one.
Edmonton 0 for 3 in the power play, 0 for 10 in the series so far. We do have Ken Reid coming on in a second, but first we have some words from our friends at NetSuite. Quick math.
Jesus Christ.
I know. So, hey, guys, sorry.
Holy,
Bisley.
the darts.
The less your business spends on operations, on multiple systems, on delivering your product or service, the more margin you have and the more money you keep. NetSuite is the #1 cloud financial system, bringing accountant, financial management, inventory, HR into one platform, into one source of truth. With NetSuite, you reduce IT costs because NetSuite lives in the cloud with no hardware required, accessed from anywhere. You cut the cost of maintaining multiple systems because you've got one unified business management suite. You improve efficiency by bringing all your major business processes into one platform, slashing manual tasks and errors. Over 37,000 companies have already made the move. So do the math. See how you'll profit with NetSuite. By popular demand, NetSuite has extended its one-of-a-kind flexible finance program for a few more weeks. Head to netsuite.com/chiclets. That's netsuite.com/chiclets. One more time for the folks out in Western Canada, netsuite.com/chiclets. And we'd like to welcome to the program our friend Ken Reid. How we doing, my
What
man?
a fucking
Thanks.
read by RA, though. Holy shit.
We're also in the business for a throat lozenge company. If there's any out there, please come our way.
Ricola.
I got
Ricola.
one question. What the Christ is HR? I've never heard of that.
You don't want to know.
No,
Just Paul.
I thought I was listening to James Earl Jones there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, after about a 2-week bender meeting.
Well, we have to have Army
Well,
bring in.
Pictou County's own Nova Scotia legend, absolute sports god, loves hockey, loves old-time hockey, loves Teapot, his idol growing up. Shout out to Teapot back in Pictou County on the lobster boats. Kenny motherfucking Reid of Sportsnet fame. Ken and Ivanka, of course, we know as a
Yep.
tandem, has brought it to us across Canada, doing sports for years and years and years. Just an amazing guy, a great colleague,
Thanks, buddy.
Unbelievable.
and great
intro.
friend. Love you, Kenny.
Love you too,
Welcome,
Army.
Kenny Reid.
Thanks, good to be here. That's a long way of saying nerd.
Oh, I forgot to say, huge hockey card collector.
Yeah, geek. Houseplant, never left the house in high school, sat in a room with my hockey
Okay,
cards. And
Kenny Reid goes to card shows and he sends me a hockey, like a baseball guy's, like his name's like Dick Bush.
That's your
Look at
humor.
this, Army. Get it?
I have a good collection. I have Dick Sizzler. I
Dick
have
Sizzler.
Rusty Kuntz.
Yeah, I got an autograph Rusty Kuntz card. I got Dick Kalmus. There's my all-time favorite though, and you got math guys would know this. Dick Pohl, former Boston Red Sox.
Yeah.
Dick
Yeah,
Pohl.
Dick Pohl.
Keep going.
Yeah.
Keep
Look
going.
at Army. Brent Sutter's calling you right now. Throw him on the pod.
Oh no. Oh no.
What a big deal, eh?
I'm scared.
He's like, get in the gym, Army.
They're not be talking shit with Ken Reid on there. motherfucker.
You don't even go airplane mode, eh? You're big time.
Yeah, but
Exactly.
That's
are
awesome.
you
what do you
supposed to
think
go
so-
airplane mode?
What's that?
Are you supposed to? Is that the professional
That's
thing?
what they tell me when they get on the plane.
Oh yeah. Oh,
I leave my phone on during the shows just so I can answer your text.
Yeah, I know.
So you're from Nova Scotia?
Yeah, Pictou County. You guys remember Colin White, New Jersey Devils, big tough guy?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Defenseman. That's Colin's hometown, and going way back, Lowell McDonald for the Pittsburgh Penguins, Masterson Trophy winner. Johnny Sim, Derek Walser, Joey McDonald, the great Troy Gamble of the Vancouver Canucks. So, and Plummy Rice, who was drafted in 1968 by the Boston Bruins but never made the NHL. So there you go. Plummy Rice. Wow. Yeah.
And the greatest player ever to come out, Teapot. Your
Teapot.
Who is Teapot?
Okay. Oh,
Here we go.
That is a complicated question. Teapot is the Marlboro man of the ocean. He's the greatest lobster fisherman you ever seen. He's the greatest golfer you've ever seen, greatest tennis player, greatest darts player, and by all accounts, money player on the ice. So when you're 8 years old and your parents move into town from the country and you love Wayne Gretzky and you love Guy Lafleur, and then your dad's drinking a beer on the couch and your mom's going out and you go, Dad, can I go to that Junior C game down the hill because we live by the rink? And Dad's like, yeah, go ahead. You go down, you walk into this rink. There's not a Zamboni. It's a tractor with a thing on the back of it, the tractor. There's cigarette smoke everywhere. There's booze everywhere. Dad's only rule was don't go down to the far end. That's where they say no to drugs. So you'd go, and if the game was tied 2-2, out would step T. And T doesn't lift his legs when he skates. It's just like
Leon right
this.
now.
Yeah, exactly. It's a confident stride. That's his shot right there. Fastest shot you've ever seen. He was the Draisaitl released before Draisaitl. He's known as the sweet one. 4-time Nova Scotia Junior C champion, 83 to 86. Money player, legend. The only guy who could go head-to-head with him in a mustache sprint competition is sitting right there.
You think I can grow one fast, eh? This came in pretty fast?
pretty good.
That's
Well, I
pretty
think it might
fast.
have something to do with you just
you're
playing.
abusing
I
like
might
that.
be pulling it out.
He's
Well,
abusing the shit.
I lick it, I spit on it. It's my little whore.
I would dare probably garner the Teapot's never touched his own mustache.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to give it
This
the French
guy sounds
twist.
like a mythical legend.
Oh, he is.
For American listeners
Yes.
listening right now, what's Nova Scotia like? How would you describe Nova Scotia to an American?
Saskatchewan with water. Like just all around
Great
beauty people. Awesome people. I love that. It is. Yeah, it is. That's why Colby and I get along so well. It's kind of like down the coast in Mass, it's lobster
People are
fishermen.
pricks there.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, a lot of
Maybe like Maine or something.
Yeah,
Or like
we don't have mass holes. People are really nice, and it's a cool spot. Everybody loves hockey, and it's like my brother says. My brother, shout out Peter Anthony, Canadian stand-up comic, and by that I mean he has his own lease. I feel like if you can have your own lease in Canadian stand-up comedy, you're a success. But he always says people down there are so nice. They ask you how's it going, so they can tell other people how it's going. Like they were like, how you doing, RA? And you'll be like, oh, I just got back and I put my back out.
Hungover.
Yeah, and then they'd be like, I ran into RA. Why is he ever goddamn hungover? So it's just gossip, but it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We love our hockey, and we're just regular people.
So,
I guess.
Kenny, I saw you put a post of like Nova Scotia Oilers or Cape Breton Oilers.
Yeah.
Sorry, I believe
Yeah.
was that Dennis Bonvie
I saw
era.
those
Yeah.
shirts yesterday.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sweet.
A bunch of people have
There
them.
were
Torrance
four-
had one on Nova Scotia Oilers, right?
Yeah,
JT.
Yeah, I think it was a group of guys who came in on like a boys' trip.
Yeah,
right?
Tony came in with his Cape
Yeah.
Breton Oilers shirt on. Yeah, so
Was that the old farm team?
yeah, so in '84, the Nova Scotia Voyageurs left for Sherbrooke, and the goddamn Maine Mariners, ARA. Screw them. So
Old school.
the Oilers moved their farm team to Halifax. They were the Nova Scotia Oilers for a couple of years. Then they moved to Cape Breton, and they became the Cape Breton Oilers. So imagine being in Edmonton and calling up some guy from Cape Breton like in 1987. It would take him 14 days to get here.
That's why they invented the train system here.
Yeah, and did you guys ever been to the Bottom Line in Toronto? It's a good sports bar. Wayne Calley won NHL game, Calder Cup champion with the Cape Breton Oilers. So, and he's out here. He's running around. So,
Really?
yeah. But Dennis Bonvie played there.
Whose games did you call there? Was that them?
No,
you did some
I
play-by-play
called
action.
I called the Maritime Junior A Hockey League. It was awesome. Bonvie played in that for the Antigonish Bulldogs.
Antigonish.
Yeah.
I heard the word
Yeah.
Antigonish.
He
so
still
many
does a
times.
charity golf tournament there every summer.
I'm supposed to go, except I'm doing this. Yeah, Bonvie and Craig McDonald.
Okay.
Yeah, so Bonvie came out of there, and he said by the time he got to North Bay, he couldn't cross over both ways. So they had to work on it. His little brother, Herbie Bondy, played for Antigonish. I once did a bench brawl. It was the Dartmouth Olin Exports against the Antigonish Bulldogs. And there was this guy, he was a tough guy named Ben Metzger. They brought him in. He played a few games with Hull, and he started beating up a dude, and dude goes into convulsions, and he keeps beating him until his own teammate drags him off. So yeah, I was
That took a right turn.
I was Channel 10 Ken. I was doing the games on
How do we
Channel 10.
segue into that one?
Yeah. Well, the stick fight the next night that kind of took care of that.
Before we dive, we obviously want to dive into your career a little bit. Before we get there, we're in Edmonton Cup Finals. What have been your thoughts on the series so far? Obviously, down 3-0.
I don't think I'll really be able to put things into perspective until after I see Shania Twain tomorrow. Then I'm going to get whips about me. But look. They finally figured it out in the third period. Throw the puck at the net. I don't care how hard it goes. Like, it's so basic.
Sifter. That's what I've been saying. Got to sift one in there.
Like,
mixer.
But there's also they're blocking everything.
They are.
Yeah,
but they're blocking the big windups, right?
You just got to find the lanes. These
The
little
McLeod
wristers.
goal. The McLeod goal. He
Yes.
just got it. Didn't even take a half step and bing, just
Yeah.
sifted it in. Hit a guy went in.
And if Bobrovsky sees it,
Broberg,
like, it's just,
sift it.
I couldn't believe Fogle beat him on a breakaway. Like, he's that good. But yeah, just throw it at the net. Like, everybody likes, Michelin star, but how did Wayne Armstrong? How does he get through every day to be the success that he is? Meat and potatoes. Just play meat and potatoes.
Doesn't mess around.
Throw it at the net.
Well, remember the second period at one point, Bouchard got a little space and he walked to the middle, and he did. He wound up for the cannon, which he has a rocket. It makes sense, but you're just saying maybe just sift it. Just
Like
a
Kulak
snapshot.
gets it on the
Shoot for
McLeod
tips.
one, just gets it, bing, it was nothing. It was just get it into the mixer, get some chaos.
How about
make it difficult? They actually got a rebound or a second and third chances in the third period for once. That was their first time they got a rebound in the 3 games.
And it gets them running around a little bit too, right?
it does.
Because the rebounds are unpredictable. All of a sudden, you're pouncing on those. You're creating those second and third opportunities. When you're creating that chaos, that's when things might break down, and those lanes that they haven't been finding all series long might open.
How about the confidence though on Bobrovsky when Bouchard's in the slot and
way out.
he comes out like he's Bernie
know.
Perrant in
Circle.
1976. I was watching it with Luke Gasek. We were like, this is awesome. Like, that is just reeks of confidence.
Well,
Like,
he also
tribe
knows
teaching
that
me.
as far out as he comes, if you do take that step after a fake, he's so good side to side. Even though he's far out, he'll still get over and take away the next angle. But it's been wild.
Mike,
Have
did
you ever watched
expect-
his pregame? Have you ever
I
watched
heard it
his
was
pregame?
one of the guys was sitting said it started in warm up in the morning, like he got out there. But no, I have not watched it.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah, does he get into it? Is he all?
Oh,
zoned
just
in?
like pregame, like in the 16-minute routine.
He's an artist.
He looks like what are the people in Vegas that fly around?
Cirque du Soleil.
He looks like a circus.
Flying Elvises?
Yeah, flying
stretch-
Elvis.
Yeah,
I said
flying
that
Elvis.
sexy, didn't I?
Utah champ.
There we go.
Cirque du Soleil.
Cirque du Soleil is
many-
off the highway in Toronto.
How
I'd
many
go
women
there.
are jamming their boxes right now to me saying Cirque du Soleil?
You have quite a unique French accent. What is that? Well in French?
Wait, I cut
well in
you
French.
off. What were you going to ask? Oh, right before I hopped in.
Oh no! Did you think Florida would win the series, or did you what was your thoughts going in?
I thought same thing as everybody else long, and I thought Edmonton power play and Skinner being decent equals possible.
Yeah, I
Edmonton
thought at least
success.
6 games.
For sure. And if they score a power play goal last night, it's 4-4, right? Like, but it's just, do you put, I don't know if they have a unit 2 or a unit B, but.
No, they don't.
Yeah, so what do? You can't just run these guys into the ground. Like, it's like Hyman, like they can't even
Is
get.
he here? Is he in this
They can't,
series?
yeah, exactly.
I think there was one guy on right here who's a legitimate power play guy in the NHL. What do you make of McDavid before the game saying they were going to go a little bit more freelance?
I loved it
road
because that's
hockey.
what we had talked about.
Right.
We had said that obviously Florida's figured out something with all the video they watched and what they were able to see in game 1. And then McDavid said it best, like, we just got to go back free-flowing, flying all over the ice, no structure. And there were moments of that. Like, he went around the net a couple times, which he does quite often, but that's when you saw the Leon chance and then Leon to him with what looked like it could have been a tap-in. And both times. I mean, it doesn't matter how good your power play becomes if the goalie's that incredible that you're shooting against.
Are you guys, like, who played, are you content if you're Florida killing off those Edmonton penalties to just see Edmonton just whipping around on the outside?
Yeah.
And all the puck position, or the analytics geeks. Oh, look at the puck possession. But
He's a
who
data
gives-
cast nerd
He
now.
is now.
What do you want to know?
We're not talking anymore. So I know
We got wrench sizes
yeah,
and everything.
Yeah, it looks good, but come on, you got to get to the front of the
yeah,
net.
you gotta.
Yeah.
You got to get
Gotta.
to the front. And then even a clip from game 2 when McDavid, it wasn't power play, it was 5-on-5, but he tight turned and went down behind the net, went back up, and it looks great. But Florida's looking at that like no problem.
No,
You can
all
look
day.
amazing and skate by guys, but if you're just on the outside, we don't care.
Like, you remember, I think it was last year in Florida, they started putting Barkov up on the top. Like, do that. Move Bouchard down to, like, the Stamkos Ovechkin spot. Have Draisaitl be the top guy. Like, you got to change something.
Yeah,
You got to
something.
get something going. Like,
Put
change
Hyman up
something.
top. Put
Hey,
Hyman
how about
running
this
the
one,
deeper.
Merles? Put Nurse net front.
I don't mind it. I want Nurse in the other team's blue paint. I don't want him anywhere near our blue paint.
I could see that working.
I was going to ask you, how'd
Yeah.
you get into broadcasting? What made you want to do all that?
Again, going back to being a nerd, it's like I realized I wasn't going to be a hockey player when I was cut from the Novice 1 team in 1981. I went home sobbing, and my old man's like, "What's wrong with you, boy?" Because he's a classic 80s dad. He didn't go to the friggin' tryout and watch. He's a doctor. He had beer to drink on a Saturday afternoon. So I said, I didn't make the Novice 1. That means if I can't make Novice 1 in Pictou, I'm not going to make the NHL. And there was a game on TV. He's like, so you got to figure out something else to do. I was like, yeah. He goes, well, the guys talking about the game, they get in for free. Light bulb. Which was,
Really?
Yeah, light bulb. It was awesome. I'm like, I think I want to do this. And I went through brief times where I'm like, well, maybe I should be a physiotherapist because my dad is a doctor. But that was grade 5, and I was like already a bad student.
And you still couldn't read.
Yeah, exactly. So the RA was ahead of me in the class standings. So there was a thing where my dad, we were small town, 4,000 people. There's 4 doctors. It's my dad and his 3 college buddies. They all have kids at the same time. All the other kids are great students. And then there's Ken Reid. And my father would like, you just don't understand your academic potential. What's wrong with you? I go, there's nothing wrong. I don't care. I want to go into broadcasting. I don't have to be smart. So I drove Dad nuts, carved a career path out by starting at Channel 10 in Dartmouth. Then went to Calgary where I started as a morning writer, $10 an hour, which is half the gross domestic product of Cape Breton Island. So that was depressing. Did that for 3 months, got bumped up to full-time writer. RA, you'll like this. $24,500 a year. You guys know what the first thing I did with $24,500 was?
Bought a car.
Go and leased a 1999 Pontiac Sunfire, baby.
Oh, baby, let's go.
Man.
Here I go
Yeah.
again on
Yeah.
my hole.
You know what happened in the back?
enough time.
Yeah, you know what happened in the back of that car? Nothing. Nothing.
Nothing at all.
Belly button soup.
Nothing. So then I got bumped up to videographer in Calgary. Eventually,
They're like, he's not much to look at, but let's throw him in front of the camera.
Yeah. Look at that beady-eyed guy. You know what would make him even better? If he had a skin disorder that made him extremely white. Oh, that's awesome. He's got vitiligo
He's
too.
glowing. It's less
Yeah,
unlighting.
exactly. So weekend sports guy to weeknight, Calgary to Ottawa to Edmonton to Toronto where I worked for NHL Network, freelance for TSN and CP24, and then 13 years ago, Sportsnet, and then fell in love with Colby a few years later, and it's been gold ever since.
Oh,
Did
yeah.
you guys first
It's been
work
nice.
together on some of those Monday nighters that you do, or was it?
No, he got called in for a couple where he was hosting it with him and I, and it was like he'd come in out of the call, like they gave him the old, Kenny,
tap.
we need you to host the show. You're working with Colby tonight, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh shit, here comes Kenny with his crazy suit. He comes in, he's like, I can't believe I get to do hockey.
Yeah.
This is gonna be great. And
Yeah.
I'm like,
What the
what's he gonna say? What's he gonna do? I don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
They give Kenny like a rundown of what's gonna happen. Kenny like throws a rundown on the desk. He's like,
Yeah.
let's just talk about hockey.
Exactly. Let's just talk and see. That's the magic of this.
That's
just
it.
talking. So I don't get to work with Colby much, but we did a hit in the playoffs. And what did you say? Don't get too stupid. When I sat down beside you, I was like, yeah, no problem. Because-
Yeah, because I know you're gonna
Yeah.
go like talking about my dad.
Yeah, exactly. But Colby and I hit it off when he sent me a meme of this wrestler, and I kept watching it for like 3 days, laughing my ass off at it, and then I got a thing from work. It's like, you're over your data. You've incurred a bill of $382. And I was like, Ivanka, what the hell's going on?
From an Undertaker.
Yeah, yeah. She's like, are you on Wi-Fi? I'm like, what the hell's Wi-Fi? So I had no idea.
is
So,
unreal.
yeah, Colby and I have an independent wrestler to thank for our Boston
Yeah.
relationship.
So, obviously, you had a massive love for hockey. Didn't you end up writing a book of all the
He's
best
wrote in
stories?
50 books.
Yeah, was it like all the best stories you've heard throughout the?
So yeah, I wrote a book on hockey cards, and then I wrote a book. I like to think I have immense respect for the game. Like, Merles, how many games did you play in the league?
NHL,
Yeah.
61 games.
That's amazing to me.
Thanks for bringing that up.
You're welcome. So I wrote a book. I wrote a couple books on hockey cards, and then I wrote a book called One Night Only about guys who played a single NHL game. And I I would dream of playing it. All right, how cool would it be? One game.
Oh, that's it.
Well, he's been with the Cup 15
Yeah.
times.
Yeah. But to actually contribute to it would be even cooler. So I went out from a point of respect. So I contacted all these guys who played a single NHL game, and I wanted to know, was it a dream come true, or was it just like Field of Dreams, Moonlight Graham? So I did that, and then I did a book with another mustache beauty, Dennis Marouk. I did one with Eddie Shack. You guys remember?
We had to edit out like 7 minutes.
Oh my God.
He is his old
He is
school.
a machine.
That was in Philadelphia, right? I'll never forget
Oh my
that.
God.
Kenny, I'm at studio. Kenny goes, "Hey, you want to come for lunch with Shacky?"
Yeah.
I said, "Okay." So he went to like Shacky's little sandwich shop in his neighborhood, and it was as soon as I came in there, it was like I was like
Straight out of
this.
slap
Yeah,
shot.
oh, it was unreal.
Colby's like, I think he thinks I still play for them because he's like, what you guys got to do on the power play? Yeah.
Army's like, I'm retired.
Yeah.
Hold on. Before we continue, though, I'm sorry to mix in this ad, but we got to get our ads in. And I'll tell you right now, Dove Men+Care is where it's at. Dove Men+Care whole body deodorant gives me odor protection and keeps me smelling good everywhere all day. It's suitable to use on my whole body from pits to privates to feet. No more compromising between all-day odor protection and caring for skin anywhere on my body, even my most private parts. The new Dove Men+Care whole body deodorant fits easily into my morning routine, and now I will not go without it. Aluminum-free with a formulation that keeps my skin feeling great, and it cares for my skin with a non-irritant formula and is infused with vitamin E. So pick up Dove Men+Care whole body deodorant at Walmart or Target right now. So sorry to interrupt you there, Kenny, but
You do
No,
smell
and-
a lot better.
and-
Rich.
and-
I
Great.
noticed
I
it.
smell
Since
great.
you hopped in for an ad read, we will be at Greta tonight. It's a bar in town. They
Saw
got a
that on
bunch.
Twitter.
Hey, are you a big bubble hockey guy?
You can't really
He can
get pucks
announce
in
the
deep.
game.
Oh, I can do play-by-play. Yeah.
Huge pucks and deep
Yeah.
guy. Yeah,
So,
Kenny,
Here's the
all
stubby guy to the skinny guy. Wait, no, that was Nintendo hockey. Yeah,
So
I know.
me, Merles, and G, and anybody else, hopefully you're there too, all right? We're going to be at Greta Bar in Edmonton tonight, 9 o'clock to around 10:30, 11. We'll be playing bubble hockey. Bring your cash. I think they have 2 tables there. So shout out to Casey and staff. Obviously, plenty of Pink Whitney flowing. And I guess back over to you. Where were we?
So yeah, Eddie Shack. So
yeah.
You thought you had to edit a lot out of the interview. Think of the book. So like, no, Eddie, we can't put that in there. And then Eddie was funny because he just had certain stories he wanted to tell. And if you're writing a biography with a guy, it was a coffee table book. Like it was supposed to be a biography, but then I'm like, Eddie only wants so many stories in there, so let's make it a coffee table book. So I decided to do a little research on Eddie, and I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. That'd make a good story for the book. So next interview, I bring this topic up with Eddie. I'm like, Eddie, can you tell me a little bit about the time you got in your dune buggy and you got all juiced up and you went on a high-speed chase with the cops on Yonge Street in Toronto? No, don't want to talk about that one. So that was just the book.
Every 10 stories he told you,
Yeah.
you got to write about one of them.
Yeah. Don't remember that. And to go full circle, I wrote my last book was called, they put my face on the cover, which I don't know if I've increased sales. That was called Ken Reid's Hometown Hockey Heroes, based on
that's good.
Teapot.
Yeah.
So I was thinking of a book idea, and I always say, be yourself and write what you know. So I'm not going to write a book about analytics or upper body strength. And I know small towns. I know when I was a kid, my
big
heroes.
wrenches?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, bottom 5, all right. So I was like, I love Guy Lafleur. I love Wayne Gretzky, but just as much, I love the sweet one. I love Teapot. So I go home, and guys still talk about him. There's this. You've seen the picture of him with the lobsters.
I think we got a picture of him if we could throw it up too.
And it says legend on it. And so I'm like, I think I want to write about T. And then I thought, every town in Canada must have a guy that was like the hero of the local senior team, or the hero of the juvenile team, or Wayne Armstrong on the Lloydminster Border Kings.
Oh yeah.
And so I threw it out on Twitter, and honest to God, I was Twitter can be used for good. That's what I learned.
Yeah.
People were just going, you got to do a story on Bruce Campbell, and you got to do a story on this guy.
Sending in people to do it on
Yeah,
different
like
towns.
Bruce Campbell would go for warm up in Glace Bay, and the crowd would love it. And
Rear Admiral in Charlestown.
yeah, and one of the coolest stories I got to do, I'm obsessed with Newfoundland senior hockey.
my God.
We got Terry.
that?
Terry
That's
Ryan
senior.
Senior. That's a shirt.
Yeah,
Robbie Forbes.
So I'm like,
Special people.
the best, and the Newfoundland Senior League, that requires its own book. The legends that have gone through there, and Terry Ryan was saying, you got to do Robbie Forbes. I'm like, I'll do Robbie Forbes. It's Sid's uncle.
Sid's uncle, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
guess he was like
Amazing.
unbelievable player.
So
Not a very big guy,
Yeah.
but I guess like unbelievable player.
unreal. So it was easy. So I know Robbie. So I call him up and he's laughing. And I remember interviewing outside. I had my kid at a hockey school, and my kid had left. He was just leaving. He's like, "See you, Dad." I'm like, "Don't suck out there. If you come back and then I yell at him for 15 minutes, and then I get on to the interview.
Shut up.
I'm that kind of a hockey dad. No, I'm the best hockey dad ever. So interview Robbie, and so Robbie's story was, it's incredible. So he grows up in Nova Scotia. He goes away and plays in the Q in Laval for like 16 games, and one of his teammates is Mario Lemieux. Makes his way back to Halifax, where he leads the Metro Valley Junior A League in scoring, goes to UNB for a year, and his plan is, okay, I'm going to play at UNB for a year, and then I'm going to go give the pros a chance. So St. Louis Blues want to bring him in, doesn't really work out, goes back to Halifax and gets a tryout for the Nova Scotia Oilers, okay? So Robbie's probably 170 pounds. He literally has the Gretzky Jofa on. He's buzzing out around there. And Edmonton kind of looks at it and like, this guy's really good, but we kind of already have a guy that does that. So they cut him. I think they brought in a guy named Max Middendorf on the roster instead of Robbie. So he's like, well, what do I do? So he has a friend who's playing in the Newfoundland Senior League. You want to go to Newfoundland? Well, I could go to the IHL too. Well, guess what pays way more than the IHL, the Newfoundland Senior League. He goes to Corner Brook, Newfoundland, lives not above a bar, below a bar with 4 buddies. He starts lighting it up. He's coming home at night. There's moose meat on his doorstep because people are like, hey, have some moose meat.
They're taking care of him.
They're taking care of him. The year before, the Corner Brook Royals had lost the Allen Cup, which for our American friends is the Canadian senior title.
Oldest trophy
Yep.
in
Yeah,
hockey. I
it's
believe,
right there. It's like in the back in the day, it was the second best trophy behind the Stanley Cup, and they'd lost the final in Thunder Bay to 7. They won 3 games in Thunder Bay, came home and lost 4 in a row in Corner Brook.
No.
Yeah,
Is that a sign for the
absolute
oil?
heartbreak. Yeah, there you go. So Robbie starts lighting it up for Corner Brook Royals, leads the league in scoring. They win the Allen Cup. They're the toast of Newfoundland. Plays for another year or two there. If you look at his numbers on HockeyDB, they're insane. Goes to Holland, lights it up, ends up playing for the Bedford Blues. And I'm like, I wonder what he looked like when he played. So I go on YouTube, and there's video of the Corner Brook Royals from like 1985 or 86, and it's a game. And I'm like, well, how am I going to tell who Robbie Forbes is from looking at this? Like, there's no
It's all grainy and shitty.
Yeah, there's no play-by-play. And I'm like, oh, my God, that's Robbie Forbes. If you look at it, you're like, why is Sidney Crosby playing in the Newfoundland Senior League in 1985?
No way.
You know how Sid's got the bottom hand right high on the stick, skates with the legs wide, always going whacking the backhand? That was Robbie.
Just
So
looked like him.
same. So Robbie was kind enough to be a part of the book.
Yeah.
So we did stories of guys from every province and just guys that just
Like
love.
could have made it in a different.
Right. Maybe they could have made it, but maybe they made it to where they were supposed to be to
Yeah.
make the impact on the town, because people are still thinking about these guys who none of us ever heard of, but they're hockey heroes to people in small towns across
Yeah,
Canada.
to their community.
Right. So we all know Wayne and Sid and Mario, but to a lot of people, these guys are just as special. So for me, I'm like, there's more than one Teapot? Well, there's only one Teapot, but every town has its own kind of
Was
legend.
that your most
awesome.
best-selling book that you did?
I think so, yeah.
That's
It was.
awesome. I'd
Yeah,
love to read that.
Yeah, it was on the Toronto Star
No, it's
bestsellers. I'll get
Oh,
you
no
one.
big deal.
I'll send you. Yeah.
You read his
Globe Mail.
opening about why he's writing the book about Teapot, and the way he describes his love of Teapot is the way that we all love hockey. Like when I was reading, I'm like, that's how I
Why
fell
you
in
love
love.
it.
Yeah.
That's
right.
how I fell in love with the game. I would go to Saskatoon Blades games. I thought it
Yeah.
was the NHL. I'd never been to I didn't know it was Saskatoon. You know, it's like, and everyone from towns all over the place are like that. But all these guys too. The lore of a lot of these guys is like they were the king of the hockey team. Plus they like dominated like their
Yep.
slow pitch league.
Yes.
Then they
Yes.
were like the curling legend, and then they were also like
Totally.
go down to the bar and
Knock
pillage
someone out.
and pillage everybody at the pool
Well,
table.
Teapot, Teapot was the best fast pitch player in Pictou. You know, that was big in
Yeah,
Pictou growing
windmill.
up. Third base, Dave Kelly was his pitcher, and Teapot's down at third with his mustache. I'm not Dave Kelly. Boom, pitch strike. Then T goes up, hits a home run. I'm home like 10 years ago. The boys are like, you want to come downtown, play on T's team? I'm like, do I? So Teapot, all he does is hit home runs. I suit up, Teapot, single, Teapot, single, Teapot.
He'd adapt his game.
Single, he adapted his game. And the boy's like, T doesn't go deep anymore. He goes, he just hits singles. I go, Teachiro. just like
Yeah,
that.
I was just gonna say, he went from McGuire to Ichiro.
Teach
Yeah.
So these guys were amazing to their towns. They're still heroes in their towns. And remember the story, and like you said, Colby, like these guys played because they loved it. They didn't make any money. And remember the Cliff Duchesne story, the kid from Manitoba. He died when he was 22. He played for OCN up north in Manitoba, and his dad, who just passed, told me about his son. And he's like, I'll never forget. He's skating up the ice, and he just got whacked in the teeth. Spits his chiclets out. Looks up at his dad. There's blood everywhere, and he just smiles. And he's like, "I'm a hockey player now."
Yeah,
so to me, that's why I love the game.
Going back to the story, it's Rob, the Sid's uncle.
Yeah, Robbie. Yeah.
Did he was he instrumental in helping Sid learn a lot of what he does? Like, is that
like,
known?
Maybe, yeah, but like it's just genetics.
Just
I
genetic,
guess, right?
It's
No
genetic.
shit,
It's genetic, and just loving the game and working
Yeah.
hard. Like when I was in the Maritime League, doing play-by-play, Sid's cousins were playing in that league, Robbie and Darren Sutherland, and they were just awesome players, and everybody knew who they were. And then I remember going to Calgary, and the Max tournament came around, and hearing about this Crosby kid, and it was just, so he was. And that's a guy too that just loves the game. He was probably watching Channel 10 back in the day, and I know he loves his Teapot. Everybody loves Teapot. You meet the sweet one, you'll fall in love.
Do you get to talk to McKinnon at all? I mean, he's another Nova Scotia
Yeah,
guy.
I saw him at the All-Star game. So Nova Scotia Mafia, we're all related anyway, as you guys know, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, and like that's the beauty of the game back home. Like that's such a Nova Scotia
That
thing.
area is just the best
Yeah.
people. Like,
Yeah.
I,
That's
we-
awesome.
I went out for Sid's Cup party. Were we at one or two?
I,
And you were there with your
Well,
Teapot
well,
shirt
At
on.
all of them, I bet.
well, remember
Oh,
my
he's unreal.
I wore the Teapot shirt at that cup party. It was great. Yeah, that was amazing.
Just ripping up with Kenny, but everyone's so friendly and nice.
Oh,
like
his
the-
aunt? Who's
Oh,
his aunt?
his aunt.
He's
Oh,
the
like all
best.
his aunts
Oh
are awesome.
yeah, they're beautiful people, and
Yep.
and people are always like, what are the players like from Nova Scotia? I'm like, they're Nova Scotia guys who are just the best hockey players in the world. It doesn't affect.
Yeah, that's
their,
what it is.
Their attitude.
It's great
Were
guys.
you like a Leafs fan growing up? Canadians?
I was.
feel like you're one or
with-
the other, right?
I was a massive Habs fan.
Okay.
Like, remember, I'm a lonely teenager. It's all I have. I would watch the games in my Canadians jogging pants, Canadians hoodie. And it's funny, we're out last night after the game, and we're having a couple sodas, and Ron's there, and Kelly's there. And I remember the first time I met Ron McLean. The Habs make the Stanley Cup final in 1993. Game one's coming up. My buddy Sandy Mackay goes, you want to get in my van? We'll get a few other guys, and we'll drive up, we'll go to game one. Sure. So we do the 14-hour drive. Buy scalper tickets. Guess how much a scalper ticket was? Game one.
$100.
$100. Bang on. And I go down before the game, and I got my program, right? And I got my Sharpie, and I go take a pee in the bathroom, and who else is peeing in there? It's Ron McLean. I'm like, oh my God. So like I pinch it as hard as I can. I stop my pee, and I run out, and Ron signs my program, and now he's like a colleague. So that's like
That's pretty cool.
yeah, and for a nerd who wanted to be like Ron, to now have him know my name, that's thrilling to me. And Kelly's the goalie for LA. And I remember the Oilers were up 4-1.
And they lost that game one, right?
They lost
Yeah.
game one.
Canadians.
Pardon me, the Kings are up 4-1, and my buddies are like, let's leave. And me and Sandy are like, leave? Wayne Gretzky's got like 3 shifts left. And we were way up top, and we just watched Wayne. So that was cool.
That's awesome.
I'd say Shania tomorrow night. Is she playing somewhere?
Yeah, 4 o'clock, buddy. All right, are you dreaming, stupid? But it looks like you've been hit by Cupid, because Shania needs to play for you right now. It's going to be awesome, buddy. I can't wait to belt out Man, I Feel Like a Woman. I am all over that.
Hey, dude, I heard documentary on Netflix is phenomenal.
You're fucking squeaking. Did you eat a
Go
squeaky
get
toy?
a water.
I know.
Is that a water right there? Or is
All
that
right,
an
do you
empty
know
cup?
that she was married to the guy that produced Hysteria by Def Leppard? Like, your worlds are colliding.
Mutt Lang. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to eat the glass the water was in.
Hey, Edmonton,
Oh,
a couple
my
nights.
God.
Yeah, it's been
I
kicking
mean-
our ass.
Kenny, what do you think of the way the game is now? I know an old school hockey guy, pucks in deep. You love the old fights. You love
Yeah.
the fights. We love the hits. We love the rough stuff. People overreact to everything.
Yeah.
What's your vibe now as you talk about hockey nationally or where
Yeah.
the game is
My
at?
favorite thing to say on the air is, I'll get the highlights, just like you just got him wet with that picture, and I got to read them. We call it read them cold. I don't see them before we go on because they're right out of the game.
They
So I
print
read
them
the
right out
highlights.
quick. Here they come.
Yeah, and it'll say there's a brawl, and I always pause because the person writing there's a brawl is probably 24 years old. Sure enough, it's this, and I say that's not a brawl, that's a Gen Z line brawl. So I've coined the phrase Gen Z line brawl. Biexi loves it. I'm like, you can use it. I want to trademark it. Gen Z line brawl. Like last night, where
Yeah,
Kid
hugging
Chuck
and
was going at
rubbing,
it.
yeah.
That was a Gen Z line brawl, where they're all hugging and no one's really doing nothing. Gen Z line brawl. I some nights I love the game, sometimes I don't. It depends on the game. It depends on what happens. But I despise the general lack of accountability on a player-to-player basis, and the fact that you can just do stuff to a Connor McDavid or a Sidney Crosby or whomever on your team, and the other guys are just like, "Hey, what's up?" I'm like, shatter his jaw, break his orbital bone.
Yeah, the other night.
Make a statement.
Which game was that when Kachuk went after him and nobody
Game
came
2.
in?
Nobody
Like,
has
go
to
in there and
two.
just cause the biggest scene you've ever like,
Especially in a best of 7 where you can lay the
Yeah.
foundation for what's
Exactly.
to come. And so I love Tiger Williams, and I have taken to a buddy of mine, a younger guy, and I always say this one word to my buddy, and he never understands it. I go, Tiger, can you tell this guy about room? And Tiger's eyes just light up. Room! Room's everything, even this much more room on the ice. And that's so true.
Yeah.
If you can establish that. So I don't like the general lack of accountability, but the goaltending is crazy good. I wish the goalies would make more saves instead of block shots. Like I like watching a Grant Fuhrer on like Palmatier.
Oh, as opposed to like Carey Price where it just hits you.
Yeah, I hate that. My kid's a goalie, and I'm like, just be
Technical
an athlete.
technicians
Right.
instead of
it's so
like,
deflating as a
it's-
player
You
too.
feel like a
when they-
joke.
Right.
you're
I
like,
remember Tuukka Rask in the summer. Best shot I could muster up, and it's just like
Yeah.
moves his shoulder.
But
and
again,
it's
that comes back to another peeve of mine. The goalie equipment's still way too big. There's cops walking around in every city with Kevlar on. Come on, tighten it up a little bit. But I'd like to see more athleticism in goalies. I don't know how we do that. Do we make the equipment smaller? Do we make the net a little bit bigger? However, guys can put
No.
a puck where agreed. Guys
Don't
can put
make the net bigger.
Because guys can put
yeah.
I don't like that either.
no.
no,
I
Changes
got
all the records.
I got
Yeah.
2 peeves with hockey: the RVH, which I hate, because
Oh,
guys can put a puck right there,
Pandemic.
and love you, but you got to wrap it up by the end of May. Let's go.
I agree. They're
that's
so
our thing.
concerned about football. It's like, who gives a
Biz
fuck?
wants us to go head to head.
Head
and
to
just have
head
10
Sunday.
games a
Oh
Sunday.
yeah, Mahomes.
Do your own thing.
Mahomes
right?
beat Sasha Barkov, buddy. We're going
Start
head to head.
October 1, ends end of May long. He
Yes,
hits, he hits
May
some
long.
sort of thing they call a lake in Saskatchewan, which we call a mud puddle in Nova Scotia, and off we go. How far out have you ever waded into a lake in Saskatchewan to get up to your knees? Couple miles?
Yeah. No,
Or, sorry,
you go up
kilometers for our Canadian
Shout out
listeners?
to Loon Lake, Saskatchewan. Get up there. She's a beast. It's unbelievable. I don't even think the ice is off the lake yet.
How many Sasky hockey players have boats there? Well, go out in the boat,
Oh, yeah,
little cruise
that's
there,
the
bud.
thing. That's the thing. You
A little
go up north.
pontoon action.
Yeah.
Well, quickly before we go any further, maybe for Father's Day you could get your dad a new pontoon boat. But for us, it's G4. So what are you getting your dad for Father's Day? Did you know G4 is dropping a collection especially for him? Their Father's Day capsule has everything he could ever want for life on or off the golf course. Whether he's traditional, modern, or just wants something fun and new for his golf look, G4's got it. There's also everyone's favorite classic golf shoe, the Gallivanter, now available in spikeless and soft spike options because G4 accommodates pretty much everybody, especially family. And remember, you can get a discount when you visit g4.com/chiclets. That's GFORE.com/chiclets for 10% off your first order. So Father's Day's coming up. If you like golf and your dad likes golf, go over to G4.
Oh, and you'll make them look cool too.
Yeah,
wearing
the
that stuff.
Gallivanter. That reminds me of Danny Gallivan, the
Gallivan,
greatest
yeah.
play-by-play guy ever for the Montreal Canadiens back then.
My
What-
phone better not ring.
What are some of your favorite hockey stories that you've heard that you like to retell? I'm sure you got some. You play the hits kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm like a, I don't know, I'm like a hockey romantic. Like I love the announcers just as much as I love the players when I was a kid. The ones I always tell are like the, I don't know if I could just like pinpoint one, but like what Colby was talking about, I guess I'll tell you my favorite Teapot story. So I got to set the stage. It's 1985. Pictou is playing the Thorburn Mohawks in Game 7 of the Pictou County / Nova Scotia Junior C Championship. Because if you won Pictou County, you won the whole province.
How old are these kids? 15, 16?
These kids are 17 to 21, but
Okay.
to me they're men because some of them got bushy faces, like Biz
Yeah.
down there. Some of them are balding like RA. but when you're
Can't speak.
Balding.
yeah, some of them are
hitting puberty, cracking their
yeah,
voices.
but when you're 8, 9, 10, and you see a guy that's
Yeah.
20, you think he's a man, and they're skating around in long Cooperall, and it's just absolutely awesome. So Pictou is playing Thorburn in Game 7. The Thorburn rink only holds 600, but Thorburn hosts Game 7. But they got to move the game to New Glasgow Stadium, which hosts 3,000. So they pack it. There's like 4,000 people in there. And me and my buddy Mark Carone, who has the best Pictou County accent ever. What's going on, Colby? How you doing, bud? We're sitting front row. Love that. Front row at this game. There's no plexiglass. There's no chicken wire. We are exposed, right? And like sticks are flying. Like every Saturday night at the game, they'd be like, if Dr. Dan Reid is in the building, could he please come to the office? And Dad would go stitch up a guy. Back to the game he goes, but...
Your dad's loaded.
Oh, yeah. Oh, fuck. Yeah. Sorry, Dad, but it's the
Why'd
truth.
you give him 43 stitches, Doctor?
That's going to leave a mark. So there's like 2 seconds left in the game. Picto's down. I think it might have been 2-1. And sure enough, Boo Hebert scores. Me and Haron start going crazy, and we start booting the boards. We look over, and where Merle's is, there's a lady, and we're kicking the hell out of her purse, but she doesn't care. She's drunk. She's intoxicated. She's on something. It's Pictou County on a Saturday night. She's having a blast. Game goes to overtime. First overtime, nothing. Second overtime, in the words of the great one, well, we broke out, and little Sean McDonald had the puck, and I just headed for the net on the offside. He slides it over to the sweet one, and I'll never forget. When the sweet one, T, when he shot, he would often glide, and the back leg would come out.
Will you drag it?
Yes, he'd drag it. And when I was a kid, I was taught the wrist shot was like this. T was the only guy that would snap her. Sure enough, he goes, I knew I could go up top, but my favorite spot was 5-hole. I got him moving, and the game was over. Boom. And Teapot, I'm going to put it out here right now. This is how good he is, how good a player he was. When his junior C career was over, everybody was waiting to see where he was going to go in the Pictou Town League. Was he going to play for Gull Rock Seafood with Wayne Woodacre, who was in the book and had a tryout for the Hartford Whalers? Was he going to play for Caribou, who had Rankin, McKeel in nets? Was he going to play for my dad's team, the Hindi Flyers? The answer is no, because they stunk. The Hindi Flyers sucked. Fall starts, Teapot's not in the Pictou Town Hockey League. Everyone's like, where's T? Where's T? Teapot for years went and played in the Westville Presidential League, across the causeway 15 minutes away. Would you like to know why? A dentist on one of the teams approached T and said, I can give you free dental work if you play. Teapot was a professional. He went and played for free dental work for 10 years. That's a man.
That's a real man.
You imagine bartering between town leagues? So then T won the Presidential League title, then he won the Nova League title, then he came back to Pictou and won the Pictou Town League title. That's why former Mayor Joe Hawes thinks he should be in the Pictou County Sports Hall of Fame, because he's the only man that we know of in Pictou County to win all three gentlemen's
Triple
titles.
gold.
Triple
Wow.
gold.
Jeez.
Triple gold. He's
I
like,
gotta meet this guy.
yes, you do. He is the Scott Niedermeyer of Pictou, because didn't Niedermeyer win like the Memorial Cup, the Worlds, the Olympics?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think he did like the Perry. Perry, I think's got everything too.
Yeah. So Teapot, man, like those are the stories I like. I don't like I've been to NHL and I love the NHL, but I just like the old school. Like I remember the Mariners bench brawling against Trenton and Lester Turple torpedoing over the bench and Long Cooper all and almost knocking the head off Paul Landry, the born again coach who coached me and Adam C and benched me for 3 weeks. You know. That kind of stuff. I can go on and on. I remember fans throwing beer bottles at a goalie for Trenton, and then the next year he came back in Stellar in a different mask and helmet, and they found out it was him, and they started throwing beer bottles at him again. I remember that very fan spitting in the face of the toughest guy in town through the chicken wire, and the guy trying to climb the chicken wire, stuff like that. And,
Yeah, like this stuff going on in junior hockey still.
No.
My era was kind of still
Well,
going on.
do you see
We
the
had
videos
chicken
of the
wire
Allen
bench
Cup,
clears.
for example, the senior leagues in Saskatchewan? There's like legit brawls.
it's awesome. Saskatchewan.
It's still pumping out some sick videos of chaos. These guys got to go to work the next day.
The Monday
but they're
Nooner
the
boys.
hope of all their town.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Monday Nooner boys cover it. Yeah.
And there's over
What are they
100
drawing?
There's probably not too
entire
many.
town
There's
come
over
out.
like 100 senior teams in Saskatchewan still.
Yeah.
Which
It's
is
the biggest
pretty
thing
awesome.
ever.
No money?
No, they get paid a little. They get
Like,
paid
could
a
we
little.
play in it, or are we too out of
You
shape?
can
Oh,
play.
you
No,
guys
I got
could play in
invited to
it.
play. I was going to play
Yeah.
for Rosetown Red Wings. We were going to go. We had a ticket punch to the Allen Cup my first year retirement, and I didn't want to go because I'm like, I'm not getting hacked and whacked in this.
But you know,
Somebody would have done me.
oh yeah, you know what other league I'm obsessed with though, and I love the hockey
bummer.
stories that come out of it. It's the LNAH, that league in Quebec.
Oh,
I'm
I
sure
know.
they offered you some
I
coin.
think Donald Bashir just retired.
Donald was just in it. Brett Gallant went up for a couple weekends
Nasty
this year.
Morasty's been in there.
Fighting league?
Yeah,
that was
Nasty's
nuts.
been there. Joel Terrio running around. I like that
yeah.
kind. I got
Those
him weird.
small French towns, I just
Oh,
love the
like look at
scrapping.
this. This ain't winning anything. But
No.
I cannot fight, but I love watching hockey.
You
fights.
love hockey
and I think I might be the only guy in Canadian media, aside from you, that admits it.
Yeah.
That I like hockey fights.
Yeah.
And then
Oh,
every-
Juice still talks about it, right?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
you like
Kev
it?
does. Kev
Have
does.
have you ever dabbled into comedy? Like, have you ever done stand up
You
yourself?
know what he does? I'll give him credit for this. And if we do, Kenny, we ran into a kid last night and his dad outside. We were coming home. I come out, business sitting with these guys talking. And this kid stands up. He goes, Army, Toontown, baby, Saskatoon. Remember that kid?
Oh, yeah, he's a good kid.
And he was just loving it. He was nuts. He was loving Saskatoon. Sasky was going all crazy. And then I came up with this idea. We should do a Chiclets fantasy camp in Saskatoon.
Oh, that'd be
And
fun.
you know who's the best at doing all that
Oh,
stuff?
he's a good host.
The
Oh,
host
yeah.
with the most for all these
Yeah,
things.
yeah,
Any
yeah.
event, a golf tournament, anything. Kenny Reid's the best.
Because you're also offside, where that must be hard for you to
walk
balance.
the line. Yeah, I like to walk the line, and sometimes it gets you in trouble. I've had to do on-air apologies before, but whatever.
No shit.
But no, I love emceeing. It's fun. I like a live audience. It's tons of fun. I do a lot of it. I do a lot of golf tournaments. Do a lot of the Heart and Stroke hockey events, Easter Seals events. I'll get you and JR up there. We'll tell
And
stories.
the American hero, Ally Afraidy.
Oh, one of my dearest friends, an absolute beautiful man. He bleeds red, white, and blue. Mr. America, Ally Afraidy. As a hockey card nerd, there's a card of Al with
the haircut?
with the American flag in the back. It's probably worth 20 cents to me. It's priceless. But his skullet, when he unleashed the skullet,
yeah.
I'll never forget that day. Because you don't see these guys in 1993 with no buckets on, and
Yeah.
the skullet was unleashed. And the boys got some great stories about Al being a little sensitive to that back in the day, but
I heard a story. Didn't he
got hit.
toupee fell off and
no, he crawled for the helmet when he got hit before he would go back.
Oh, he hit the turnbuckle when he rolled
Yeah,
the boards.
it
He
said
hit the
rock 'em, sock 'em.
turnbuckle, his helmet blew off, and then the skullet
he was
unleashed.
cocky, but he was like army crawling to get his
Yeah,
bucket.
get his bucket
so you
back.
couldn't see the top
Yeah.
of the shiny dome.
But he is the kindest man in the world,
he's
and
awesome.
I love him. And when we go to these charity tournaments, if you draft Al, you get me too. So that's kind of the shtick, and we have a blast together. And there's a Ricky Gervais line that I love. It says, "Kindness is a superpower, and we all have it." And Ally Afraidy practices it on a daily basis. He's a superhuman. So that's one of the cool things about doing all these things is, as a former hockey card nerd, still a hockey card nerd, the guys whose cards I collected, I actually get to chat with them and not be issued a restraining order, or go up with a binder full of stuff for them to sign. Like
I was
they're
big in those
legit.
years, like when Pro Set
Pro
first
Set.
came on, Upper Deck came
Oh.
out. It was like, wow.
I was
was
in the
amazing.
Pogs, the player
Oh,
Pogs.
they're Pogs. Oh,
I had the
yeah.
Eric Lindros Pog. It was worth $8, which felt like $1 million.
Well, Sid wrote a forward to one of my hockey card books, and it was about how he got ripped off for his Mario Lemieux rookie at the
So he just moved in with him.
Yeah. So he moved in. That was better than having a Mario Lemieux rookie living with him.
I'm just moving to your basement for 5 years.
You'll know this card. Remember the Ken Griffey Jr.
Absolutely.
Upper Deck? I
the
like
old
stole
Seattle
it from
jersey, the
Yes.
blue and yellow.
Yes.
It was a huge card, and a kid had it in my class. I traded him like a Jose Canseco rookie.
Good
for
trade.
It. Great trade for
Great
me.
trade, Merles.
But then, like 2 weeks later, the teacher found out about it, and like how I ripped him off completely. I had to trade it back to him.
That's not an
That teacher
that's
sucks.
That's
Unbelievable!
bullshit.
I swear to God, I'll never forget that.
That's a
Miss
Gen
Murphy.
Z line brawl.
That's a
kind
Gen
of
Z
thing.
line. I remember being at a card show in Sydney, Nova Scotia in 1989, and there's a Ken Griffey Jr. on the guy's table. He says, "How much?" He goes, $5. I buy it. He puts another one out. $5. $5. I buy it. $5. I bought 4. I bought him out. So that card changed everything. That was
epic card.
That was
I
nice.
think Ally Afraidy, him lighting his dots with a blowtorch when he was fixing his sticks and shit.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Lighting with the torch. He still can. In a pinch, he still can. But yeah, Al's got so many great stories about hacking darts in the laundry room, and just Denny Savard's got great darts. So when I MC these hockey hot stoves, we never talk about hockey. It's usually about darts, and then darts go off to other stories. Like Denny's like, yeah, when I joined Chicago, remember those old grandma ashtrays? He was like, there was like 12 of them in the room. So
With the big bingo ash.
yeah,
Well, what did he say? He told a great story of playing for the Leafs, and they'd all time would be ticking down on the clock. He said, and they'd all position themselves near the end of the bench to get off the end of the bench to go down the runway.
Yeah.
To get the best seat near the ashtray for
Yeah.
smoking.
Yeah.
And everyone be wrestling for that seat.
yeah, those are the stories I love. Like I love the game, but everyone has books about the game. I want to know about behind the game and what the guys are like, and in a nice way, right? But hacking darts to me in the 80s is just the best.
It's a business question too. You ever tried stand up with your brother? I
Oh
know
no,
you
never
never
tried it.
attempted.
We completely dodged that question.
Yeah,
That was
okay.
about
The
15
closest,
minutes.
I guess, the closest I've ever done to doing stand up is just when I MC these banquets and I go up
That's
and I
considered
fire up.
stand-up.
the
No,
speaker.
Yeah,
he does a
I
great
would-
job.
It's hard.
Yeah. But my brother's a professional stand-up comic. Like that's his thing.
What would you consider the pinnacle achievement of your career so far?
Well, other than sitting here with you guys,
Probably knowing Teapot.
knowing the sweet one. This is gonna sound corny, but just that I've gotten to a place I've always wanted to get to, and I never thought it would be a place where I could also spend so much time with my sons, because I'm blessed with the rare opportunity in this business that I usually only work Monday to Thursday, and I have my weekends off. I can spend with my wife and my kids, and I don't have to, I hate missing my kids' baseball or hockey, both the boys, but I'm at a place where I got my head in order, because I had a lot of head issues for a number of years, and I get to do what I love for a living. I get to do it beside Ivanka, who I love, and she's an awesome co-anchor, and I get to talk hockey, and I get to have fun. And in the words Audio Slave, to be yourself is all that you can do. So when I go on TV, I'm not, good evening, the Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah, you're Ken
I'm
Reid,
me.
man.
I'm me. So
Yeah.
to reach that comfort stage is pretty awesome, and I'm very thankful for that.
Good for you, man.
Congratulations.
Appreciate you coming
said
on.
that.
And I get free suits.
I saw that green one last
How'd
night.
you think of that?
That thing was fresh.
Listen, I'm 6 under after 2 days, 2 more days, and I get another one.
Top of the morning to you, Kenny. When I
There you go.
Yeah, me lucky charm.
You said head issues from concussions or something?
No,
or just mental health.
Mental health,
health, yeah.
anxiety. When I mentioned I was a lonely teenager in my room, it's because super shy, which led to anxiety, which led to, just a mess for like 15, 16 years till the wife said, I'm not a psychologist. You can't tell me this anymore. Now I'm heavily medicated. Have a great day, every day.
That's why you get along with Army so well.
Yeah,
There's
oh,
nobody
I'm
with
a
more
lunatic.
anxiety
You're
than
just
this guy.
panicking. Yeah, you're just
No, me and Kenny have had some great
Army
talks.
panics.
Army and I have the same brain. That's why when I see him, I give him a hug, because even if he doesn't need one, he might need one. I love this guy.
Yeah.
I always say, a great friend of mine, Shane Corson, a great friend of
we
mine.
had him on.
Colby
He's
Armstrong.
awesome.
I always say the only difference between me and you is you guys are way freaking better than hockey than me. Other than that, we're kind of the same humans, and it's good to be there for each other. Yeah.
This has been awesome. I don't know if you had any more boys.
I mean,
This is-
are you on any time frame, or you want to hang out for a little till we finish up here? Or you
I got to
still-
hit at 1, but I can stay till
We
around
ain't
1.
gonna go that long.
Wait, how's my hair going to look for the hit? Is
it
it
looks
good?
good. Oh,
I thought we were done
I
too.
thought we were done.
Looks like a Lego head.
How my hair look, Mike?
Not,
I mean,
it's kind of like Kyle Bukowskis a little.
Do we have any other? Yeah, what do you got?
Lego
Right?
hair.
Utah, they unveiled their jerseys. I don't know if you guys saw it.
Oh,
They sent
my
I
it.
like
God.
that.
You know what that
Whatever.
is? That's brilliant, because here's our jersey, buy it, and then in a year we'll get a
Yeah,
name.
I know.
Buy
Yeah,
that
yeah,
again.
buy
But
that
I do.
too.
I
Double
like
release.
those colors. I
I
actually
do
think
love the
without
colors.
black, it would have been humane, which I like a little bit
Yeah.
more. But nobody else has a jersey like that, and I do
like
agree. That's basically to sell some more
That's
once the
to
real
sell
name
some
comes
more.
out.
Okay, maybe that's part of it. I just thought it was very simple. It's an introduction to the state, and I think a lot of people are going to want that jersey just based on its uniqueness. Where I think it was the Penguins, maybe the
Yes.
Rangers at
The
some
Pens-
point
the
did
Pens-
that.
The
Gin
Rangers
and
had it
juice.
like-
Dog,
Yeah.
Snoop
Dogg
jersey.
gin and juice
Yeah.
jersey.
If you want to see the greatest jersey in history, just go Penguins early 70s, that blue, and Lowell McDonald
love
skating.
that.
around.
Oh, we
Yeah,
had that
baby
throwback
blue,
for the
yeah.
outdoor game
Oh,
when Army
I know.
scored,
We had
and
it
I was like,
Wilkes-Barre,
What
oh.
was it, 17 seconds in? already?
21 seconds.
Record's never been
Still
broken.
got it.
He just sits at the edge of his couch every outdoor game, and 22 seconds in, he just
Yeah,
breathes
see you
a sigh
later.
of
You know,
Good
relief.
try, boys. Good
I
try.
like them. I like
Yeah, the
them.
colors are.
I like the colors.
rock black, salt white, and mountain blue. I
Wow.
think they just invented their own
Yeah, I think they
name for
invented
when
it.
they
You
do
can
that.
name colors and people won't question.
Oh
it.
yeah,
Yeah,
rock
exactly.
black or black.
I think a friend of yours, Ryan Wasowski, named head coach of the San Jose Sharks.
Incredible story, and it's so cool to see that he's really earned this. So my brother grew up playing with his brother Dave Wasowski, who played in the NHL and played in Europe for a while, and so they're a great family. Like, unbelievable story of his father starting this M&M trucking business. He recently sold it, but awesome people, 4 brothers: Adam, Jared, Dave, and Ryan. And Ryan's the youngest. And he was just really wanted to get into coaching. It's something that he kind of dreamed about. And Dave was playing, and Ryan wasn't as good of a player. And he started off, and he did whatever he had to do. He's in the East Coast League, won a championship, able to move up to the AHL. Did they win a championship in the AHL too with the team he was with?
Chicago. It wasn't a couple years ago you were talking about.
Yeah, I think he did.
The
And
Wolves?
I think he did.
I know he won down the coast with Carolina.
That's when you first started
Yeah.
telling us about him.
And it was like one of those things where like,
He's kinda
this
like the
kid's
new John
coming.
Cooper
This
or
kid's
what?
coming.
Like a professional.
Chicago
coach down
Wolves
there.
in 21-22. I think they might have won it that year.
Shout out Wendell Young.
He won it in Chicago. He won in Chicago. He won the championship his second year. So maybe they didn't win one in Charlotte. It doesn't say. But then he got the job. David Quinn brings him in to be the assistant in San Jose. It's like, wow, I'm already an assistant in the NHL. And they chose him. They let Quinny go, which I'm sure is hard for Ryan because Quinny gave him his chance. But I actually love the opportunity for him. And I know I was kind of chirping the Sharks and how bad they're going to be. But for a guy who has really nothing to lose, right? This team, nothing's expected. It's your first head coaching gig. That's somewhere you could prove some people wrong. And maybe all of a sudden he's able to implement some things that he wants to do. And they do bring in some younger players, and Celebrini and Will Smith will be there next year, everyone's hearing. And so I'm just happy for him because he paid his dues. It's funny, a lot of coaches would say he didn't pay him that long, right? Because it was South Carolina for 2 years. He was the assistant coach of Curry College 1 year, then the East Coast League head coach for 2, then assistant in Charlotte for 1, head coach in Charlotte for 1, head coach in Chicago for 2, and then 2 years assistant NHL. So
I'm sure this has been talked about. Do you think that knob block has now like opened up the door where more teams are going to be giving guys these chances?
I think you're crazy not to give opportunities to guys, even your AHL coaches. And you see Bilesma is coming up from the AHL for Seattle. You saw what Bilesma did when he came up from the AHL for the Penguins. Now, we kind of chirp sometimes when these older coaches get hired, but Laviolette, he obviously proved that he knows what he's doing. He's been around a while, but he's good. But I like the new blood coming in because as much as we chirp younger players and what it's like now with these guys being so sensitive and maybe can't take criticism, these new age coaches know. They know a little bit what they're doing and how to deal with them. Like, I'm sure Ryan Wasowski, being younger, has seen guys the last 4 or 5 years in the coast in the AHL and been like, it's a little different now. And some of these old school guys, they don't necessarily know how to get through to the younger players. But I'm with you, Biz. Knobloch's done a lot.
I think it goes back to what Coop said when we had him on the panel last time.
He's an example of it.
Yeah, where he said, well, I don't know how you react with different players. Like, some of them might need a hug. Other ones might need a pee-pee whack. Like, if you give it to them, they respond better. Some guys, if you go coddle them, then they're going to, they'll get that confidence back. So it's all about reading your players, and I feel like that's maybe the newer school mentality is where guys kind of understand that, and that you have to learn your personnel, and then not just Mike Keenan where everybody gets it.
I love that story about it's a long road as long as you're on it, and that is a long road. Like, that's almost a real timely hiring too. When you think 28 years old, Paul Maurice is hired in Hartford, and here he is 29, 30 years later
without a cup, and now he's this close.
He's so close.
I think it's my stat that I had where no coach has won the cup for a new team. Besides Scotty Bowman.
Really?
No, only one coach in the last 60 years has won a cup with another team after winning a cup, if that makes sense.
Does that include Vincent Joyce, who took over the 84 Mariners after Paul Landry left for Trenton?
Well, the Teapot leagues, I don't know if I count
Teapot league.
But that's why we knew the Rangers weren't going to win the cup, because Laviolette already won a cup. So he's not going to win another one. It's only
How about I didn't realize we interviewed Messier the other day, which was incredible. Yeah. And after he actually went down to Steve Levy, Merles was there and said, "Those guys got me to open up." I was like, "Oh, that was a compliment."
That's a compliment.
I didn't know. Reading about him, he's the only player in the NHL history to captain two different
teams.
Never knew that.
Yeah, isn't that wild?
That's crazy. And then I thought of Pietrangelo. I was like, "Oh no, Stone for Vegas." Like, it's not that often.
And by the way, when you see Mess. Talk about an in-shape dude. That's inspiring.
I asked him, I go, what do you do? He's like, 6 days a week.
Yeah.
I go, cardio, weights? He goes, both.
Yeah.
I was like, Jesus. And the mushrooms.
Yeah. He's beautiful. Yeah, like when you see that. But I see that story of the new coach in San Jose. That's what I love about hockey. Like, I love that story that on the ticker when it says Sharks hire a new coach, you don't get that story. I love all you guys have a story. And I love getting into that. That's where the love of the game comes from. And your friend there got hired. Well, sorry,
Ryan Wasowski.
That's amazing to me.
I think we could get him on. I think he'd be willing to come on for sure. So hopefully he is, because it'd be a blast to hear his story of it, or how he thinks of how it's going down.
Yeah, Merles, I'm not sure if you heard about this one. St. Louis Blues general manager Doug Armstrong, he's going to be president of hockey operations till 2028. Alex Steen is going to take over as GM.
Merles had this early.
My good friend. So when he retired, he moved back to Sundsvall, and he actually took over the team there, and he started building up all the way from the youth all the way up to the pro team, the junior teams, running all of that. His dad, Winnipeg Jets legend, Tomas Steen, he came over to help him. And just being hockey guys around the community, we end up becoming friends. Our wives hit it off. He's got kids the same age. So we've been hanging out together for 2 years now. And he's always doing these trips. I would hear him. He's like, "Oh, I'm going to see Doug Armstrong." And I'm like, "Oh, what's that all about?" And he's doing all this stuff. This winter he goes and he's buying a house in St. Louis. And he's like, "Yeah, I think we're going to move there." He's doing interviews at schools for his kid. And I'm like, man,
what's going on here?
He's doing a lot just to go over there and keep being a scout or whatever. And I should have known. The writing
worst
was
insider
on the wall,
ever, Merles.
But he's unbelievable. Again, a young guy getting an opportunity to be a GM is crazy. But he's a hockey lifer. He loves it. his big thing when they won the cup is he went from a first line power play guy. He took that fourth line role, didn't care. He just knows how to
Was
win.
he playing fourth line on
He was
that
like
team?
fourth line by the end there,
Unreal fourth line.
and they talked about it like that was like the driving force of them. And when a guy like that's calling the shots, you got to listen. They're gonna be in good hands.
And what you're trying to say is like it's important to have a guy in that position who not only like achieved what he achieved, but the fact that he knows what it's like to be that first liner. He knows what it's like to be bumped down. So when you experience everything as a player, it's easier to understand things about maybe how guys are reacting to it, and then you don't react in a get rid of the guy. Maybe there's room to work with them or yada yada yada. You got to
all time.
yeah, he's an intelligent guy. Well, he's with camp with you two.
Oh,
Bozos,
I
too.
remember being the guy. He wore Manchester City socks everywhere. Remember, he's obsessed with Man City.
rode that old
He
Monarch.
rode this old fucking bike like a maniac.
Monarch.
Lance Armstrong, before and after
His
practice.
legs were like this.
I was like, this guy's a machine. But an all-time bad Toronto Maple Leafs trade. Just a quick shot at the Leafs.
Put it on the
Traded
pile.
Steve when he was like 20 years old.
Where does that one rank amongst all the other
Put it on the
ones?
pile.
But no, that's going to be great. And I think Armstrong will become president or take over as president when Steen becomes GM in 2 more years.
2026. Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm one for recency bias, but I just feel like there's kind of this like new guard of like now the young coaches are starting to come in more and more. Now all of a sudden the GMs are getting a little bit younger.
That's why I think right now he's at Detroit, but my buddy Horkoff, him and Steen were so similar. How they trained, how they played, like just hard-nosed pros. And I know Hork's on his way up. He'll be a GM at some point too. They remind me of each other.
How screwed up is it when the guys you used to watch play become you, and then the guys you used to play with become coaches and scouts, and then like it's just weird getting.
It is weird.
Watching, yeah, that's a basically nice way of it sucks getting old.
Like a
but-
guy younger than you is like becoming like a GM. Yeah, you're like, what the hell is going on right now?
I'll be honest. I'm 50 in friggin' 3 months, and I'm like,
Oh,
these
baby.
kids think I'm Archie Bunker. Like they think I'm old as hell. And now the kids didn't even get that reference. That's how friggin' old I am.
Yeah.
Stifle you and stifle Ito.
Oh, here we go. You open up a can of worms,
Do you
Kenny.
follow the Instagram account that just sends out all the Archie and
hilarious,
Edith?
dude. So funny.
Great
I
show
follow
ever.
those, and you can't even like
can't even
repeat.
repeat.
No,
No, not at all. We'll all get
It
fucking
won
canceled.
18 Emmys.
Oh, great show.
Patrick Laine, Columbus Blue Jacks basically agreed to break up. They're going to seek a trade. He's got 2 more years left.
It's a mutual thing.
Yeah, a mutual thing. 8.7 mil. He's got a modified no trade clause. Obviously, he'll give his list of teams. He was at the player assistance program at the end of the year. I'm sure that he'll be out of that when the next season rolls around. So, I mean, any idea where he might go?
I mean,
it's-
great natural goal scorer. I think he likes when the game's easy. I mean, I think if you're looking to win a cup, I don't think you want Patrick Laine unless he can figure. Why
Unless
you
he can be on the third line.
He's fucking
True, yeah.
soft,
You wanna
man. He
win a
doesn't
cup.
want to go to the
Well,
hard
he can be on a
areas.
third line and just be a game breaker guy.
8-7
like-
though.
What if he?
Yeah,
What if he?
these last
What
two
if he
cups,
figured it out though? Like, what if that? Like,
No, I-
you know,
said some about
we
Kessel.
Pray died. Yeah.
Hey, definitely a guy who has raw talent who you would want to give a chance to in a cap era, though, as I think somebody just mentioned, 8-7. That's a lot of fucking dough, man.
I
for a
think
guy who's
he
gonna
ends
play
up.
third line.
I think he ends up at a lower team that needs to get to the cap and understands that this guy might get us 40 and 70, 75 points, but I don't know if we're going to be winning a ton of playoff games with him. And you're right, he could figure it out, but my thought is I'd be shocked to see a team next year considering themselves as cup
How
contenders
old is
trading
he?
for that deal.
Yeah, that's.
He's already 26, man. Wow.
That's still young,
I
though.
feel like I feel like guys.
Remember
start
when he
co-
was going like first year and him and Matthews going?
Yeah.
head to
Remember
head
that? Who's
and
better?
that-
Laine or
I think
Matthews?
he had a.
Did they have that hat trick game or
Yes.
something?
They both, I
Like,
remember both having hat. Well, he had the.
they
4-0
scored in
game, Matthews.
overtime to win too, like on a breakaway.
he'd
like
get
it was
you
like
20
whoa.
goals in 10 games, and then he'd disappear for fucking.
seems
Did I ever tell you about
Forever
the time T got a hat trick within the first?
Rangers signed extended Capo Kakko 1 year, $2.4 million extension.
Say that again. All right.
Capo, Kakko.
Capo Kakko. Capo Kakko, 1 year extension, $2.4 million. He'll be arbitration eligible after this deal. Sounds
Probably
about right.
his last
his
maybe
qualifying offer,
maybe,
right?
Maybe his last like goal. Like it might be this year, kind of shit or get off the pot a little bit. And just because he was the second overall pick, it might be like, all right, if next year it's another really underwhelming offensive season, I don't know if it's going to work out there long term. But you saw what Lafreniere did this year, and I think he's a much better player. But you never know. But you see that kid, you're like, It was that World Championships he had
Yep.
that
He
year for
dominated.
Finland,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
people were like, he might go in front of
Hughes.
It was
Jack Hughes.
It was Hughes,
Yeah.
yeah. And then all of a sudden you're just like, oh man, it just hasn't seemed to translate over as a scorer at least.
Yeah, it was because Draisaitl did the same thing. Like Draisaitl went as an 18-year-old to that World Championship and lit it up, and that season was where Draisaitl broke out with the Oilers. Like, was crazy. So everybody was thinking, oh, he's gonna be like Draisaitl.
Yeah.
What do you guys think when someone has a tournament like that and you go all in on them? Because you got to watch them a lot. And as TV viewers, like there's fans out there that are going, like that are finally in Canada being exposed to Barkov and how good he is. But when you're watching a young player and he lights it up for a week, you got to watch him for more than a week.
You have to, and that's why the Stanley Cup is obviously it's the Panthers if they get this done and Maurice, but it goes back to the entire, like every scout, they all have a role because yeah, you look at a guy and the draft comes around and this guy's been good in the world championships, but you have to have the ability to just not look at small windows. And I think these best teams, they do such a good job drafting that it's really truly a team Stanley Cup because yeah, if you make one bad pick like Kakko, it's like, oh man, we could have had somebody pretty special, but because of that 1 week, we forgot what we saw the rest of the year.
And that's a perfect segue to my next book coming out in the
Teapot.
fall of 2025, still untitled, Scouts by Ken Reid from Simon & Schuster. There you go, boys. Sneak peek. That's breaking news.
I love it.
See how I worked that question in there just to lead to my segue?
Yeah.
That's
What
a
a
selfish
The
move.
Ken Reid Show.
Selfish
The
move.
Ken Reid Show. We've been taking over.
That's right. Here we go.
I love it.
A couple of Stanley Cup final stats for you here. Teams with a 3-0 lead in the Stanley Cup final, 27-1. Only one time team has blown a lead back to 42 Leafs, right? Ken, the story over
That's the
there.
last time the Leafs won.
67. Ooh, dagger. The last sweep, you know when the last sweep was?
In the Cup?
Florida.
Cup.
Didn't Florida get swept?
That was
Detroit, Philly?
96.
No, they
Nice.
did, but that wasn't the last one.
97
Detroit,
and
Philly.
Right.
98. No, there's been one
Chicago,
since then.
Philly.
Hold on. I'm
We've-
pretty decent at this.
Someone asked me last night, and I nailed it.
Anaheim didn't sweep Ottawa.
No, that was close.
Jersey, Anaheim? No, that's
No,
going
that
way
went,
Oh,
that went
Ottawa.
7.
Yeah.
Anaheim, Ottawa.
No, Anaheim didn't. It was 5 games that series
who
because it
beat
was
you?
back in Anaheim when they won. What the?
Detroit. Somebody.
No, Detroit.
Oh, his eyes lit up.
Detroit.
I'm going to read the
Washington?
chat.
Detroit, Philly.
Both. No, there were 4 sweeps in a row, 95, 96, 97, 98. And those, the 98 was the last time there was a
What
sweep
was
in the
98
final.
Cup?
Who was the
Detroit
Washington.
beat Philly, then they
Philly.
I
beat
just didn't
Washington.
say
You
that.
said that.
Yeah, he did. He
Like,
said that earlier.
3 minutes
Said
ago?
that earlier.
No, I made the eyes that. Well, you said
you're
it.
trying to get him
You
on
actually said it
TV.
right away. You like it
Thinking
wasn't
about
Philly.
tonight.
No,
you
I didn't
said
think it was. I thought it was one since
you said it
One
'98.
that Darren
Yeah.
McCarty scored like that.
Oh,
that
yeah.
crazy goal.
Oh,
yeah.
sick.
He's wrestling by my house in a couple weeks.
Backyard wrestling.
Yeah.
McCarty,
McCarty's
no,
wrestling?
at Ted Reeve Arena. Yeah.
Wow.
I might have to go.
Yeah, he's big into that. I follow him on social.
Yeah, that's where I saw it.
The last,
Yeah.
I saw the NBA, NHL haven't had both be sweeps since
Double
95.
sweep, that's
5.
true.
Yeah. Pretty wild stuff. So yeah, boys.
Was that the OJ thing? No, that was
No, that was 94.
Yeah.
94. Yeah,
Those
that great
Rangers.
documentary.
Bronco.
Ken, thanks so much for joining
Yeah,
us.
yeah,
This is
yeah.
awesome. You
Yeah.
gave us a jolt of life. I wish we had a little bit more jolt of life in this fucking series, but Edmonton is they have a mountain to climb. And Whit, final thoughts. How does
We're losing them, boys. We're losing them.
We're losing them. Get the defibrillator.
Get it out.
Yeah, it's hard to remain positive. You go one period at a time. Try
Oh
to
my
win.
God!
I mean, it's
What a loser.
It's what else am I supposed to say, Biz? You got to try to win the first period, win the second
One
period.
shift at a
Boxing
time.
day.
boys.
Win a shift. Just
Win a
win a shift.
Mixer, sifter, one shift at a time, one period at a time,
And nurse
Nurse on
on
forward.
forward.
and that's the recipe. That's the recipe.
One last
David
thing.
Tornado.
One last thing, or actually 2 last things before we sign off. Greta tonight, 9 o'clock, bubble hockey. Ken Reid's coming now. I'm going to take his fucking lunch money. Merle's one of the most overrated bubble hockey players in the history of the world. I'm going to dummy that motherfucker. G's been talking shit, so see us at Greta tonight. We'll play bubble hockey. Tons of Pink Whitney, obviously in Edmonton. I don't have the exact address. That's okay. You guys
Greta,
can figure it out.
The
There's one
addresses
of them-
here are really complicated.
It's,
I lived here for 3 years. I still can't figure it out.
It's near Cactus and the Pint near Jasper Ave, so you guys will figure it out. But we'll see you at Greta, and let's have some fun. What was the other last thing?
That was it, right?
109th
Oh,
Street. 109th Street.
Let's go.
I saw Jack Campbell in the hallway last night.
You think they go to Jack?
But he had that fucking twinkle in his eye. I think it's
Imagine
Jack.
Soupy came in.
Campbell in, Nurse at forward. We got the cup.
Knobloch has pulled off some crazy shit in these playoffs. I think it's Jack Campbell time.
Oh yeah,
I actually would not. I'd be like, let's do it.
Let's do it,
Let's do
man.
it.
Why
Fuck
not? And change that fucking tune you came out to for warm up.
Let's go.
Buddy,
Pump it.
Right, buddy Ryan Jesperson for letting us use the studio.
Yes,
week.
thank
Oh,
you,
buddy, this
Unreal.
place has been
He's a beauty.
unbelievable.
Real
good.
talk with Jess.
Incredible. The hospitality we've been shown here has been awesome. The beers have been flowing.
Western
seen
people,
without a
beer.
Western
Yeah,
people,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I've been drinking every
go.
day.
I was like, I don't think we
the
this
real
we last long
Canada.
at this studio.
Real
Oh,
Canada.
here goes
here.
Colby. Colby's going to go on his political
Hi,
rant.
everybody.
Get me going on Western, folks.
We'll be back after game 4, win or lose, and I will see you then. Have a great weekend.
Tits you're going to be seeing all
See
trip
ya.
already. Get a good look at them, buddy.
Fucking sew it. Good show.